Hey guys, how you doing today? If you've been here before, you know who I am. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you. I am Barb, and this is with Halfway to Sane, where we do true crime on this channel. I'm doing two stories in one video, and they both have to do with grown women who pretend to be teenagers and go back to high school. When I was a teenager, I couldn't wait for school to be over. There is no way that I would go back to school unless it would be college and to better myself. But to go back to high school, absolutely not. I guess some people just enjoy that experience and want to try it again. So whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and get on with it. The mystery of 29-year-old Hai Zhong Shin, who pretended to be a teenager to enroll in a New Jersey high school, seemed to capture the country, drawing millions of viewers to news articles, TikTok, and YouTube. Parents questioned the seeming ease with which she had tricked school officials and been able to wander the hallways, attend classes, and meet with guidance counselors for 4 days. Students at the New Brunswick High School said they feared that Shin had malicious, possibly criminal intentions after she tried to set up meetings with them at a location outside of school. 2 lawyers hired by her family laid out a far less sinister explanation for the odd behavior. Recently divorced and far away from her family in South Korea, she was trying to recreate the sense of safety she had felt as a student at a Massachusetts boarding school. She first arrived in the U.S. at 16 years old to attend a boarding school in Massachusetts. "It's very bizarre," said one of the lawyers, "and it may be difficult for people to understand. There are personal issues that she needs to resolve. She's been away from home for a long time." Miss Shin was charged with 1 count of providing a false government document after she allegedly submitted a fake birth certificate to the New Brunswick Board of Education. At her second court appearance, she entered a not guilty plea to charges that is said to carry a maximum penalty to 5 years in prison. Her lawyers told the judge that she intended to apply to a program that diverts first-time offenders from the criminal justice system and enables them to wipe their record clean after a successful period of probation. Miss Shin, who is not a U.S. citizen but is in the country legally, hopes to return home to South Korea after the case concludes. Miss Shin stated, "I don't have anything else to say for now." Within weeks of Miss Shin's arrest on charges that she provided school officials with documents that falsified her age, the police reassured parents that there was no evidence that she had intended to bring harm or violence to the students or the staff. Her lawyer stated, "This entire case is more about my client's desire to return to a place of safety and welcoming in an environment that she looks back on with fondness and nothing more." Oh boy. She graduated from Rutgers in 2019 with a degree, and she was not employed after a bitter divorce. She was named a Learning Community Scholar in 2017. At the time, she said her main academic interest was language and linguistics and their influence on human identity and culture. In 2022, her landlord filed a lawsuit after she fell roughly $20,000 behind on rent. Why would a landlord wait so long to file? $20,000 is a lot of money. You're just letting her hang out there for nothing. Schools in New Jersey are required to provisionally enroll all children, even in the absence of records typically provided to verify identity or prove they live in the community. From that point, students have 30 days to provide additional proof of identity, or the district has the option to declare them ineligible to attend class. According to a website devoted to the Scholars Program, She stated she practices meditation and enjoyed singing when no one is around. She said, I can be very quiet, but I do slowly open up and start talking more as I become more comfortable. Both the police and the school district said that state law prohibits a student being prevented from attending school based on a lack of documentation or immigration status. New Brunswick Public Schools staff members discovered the deception while completing the established vetting protocols and promptly barred her from entering any district property. Once our staff determined that it was dealing with fraudulent information, they immediately notified the appropriate authorities. The well-being of our students, staff, and community are of utmost importance to us, and we will continue working with the police department and our other partners. In her ruse earned her a grand jury indictment and a third-degree offense for false documents, hindering her own prosecution. A Superior Court judge ruled that Shin can enroll in a pretrial program for 3 years. She must also take a mental health test and was ordered to pay fines. Don't know, people. Well, at least she was only there for 4 days. The story I did previously, I think she got 3 years. But that woman, you'll have to watch the video. She had multiple different fake personalities, I guess you could say. But here we go. Next one is a millionaire social worker who posed as a 13-year-old girl, trafficked orphan to attend 3 high schools, and tricked adult couple into fostering her. A 32-year-old social worker was able to masquerade as a traumatized high schooler for almost a year while keeping up her full-time job as a social worker. Shelby Hewitt, also known as Ellie Blake, 13-year-old, and Daniela Blake Herrera, 16 years old, conned her way into 3 high schools and a treatment center, even tricking a therapist and her partner into becoming her foster parents. Students who bullied her for looking like she was in her 30s, including taunts that white cracks early, were disciplined even though an investigation found they were right all along. The reasons for the alleged fraud are still unclear, as an investigation into her ongoing court case by the Boston Globe saw former classmates and furious parents question how she pulled it off. A tricked friend said she feels betrayed and confused. Shelby Hewitt is charged with criminal forgery and identity fraud, and after she pleaded not guilty in December, she is set to stand trial at the end of the year. According to prosecutors, she began her elaborate plot by pretending to be troubled 16-year-old Danielle Blake Herrera in mid-2022, shortly after she returned to work at the Department of Children and Families, graduating with her master's degree in school counseling from the University of Massachusetts, Boston in 2016. She was initially hired by the DCF right out of graduate school on a $50,000 salary. She left in 2018, around the same time her mother and maternal grandfather passed away, leaving her with a large inheritance, speculated to be as much as $1 million. It is unclear what exactly Hewitt was doing for around 3 years until prosecutors say she began the fraud in December 2021 by registering an email domain at massstate.us intended to look like legitimate Massachusetts of DCF email. She then likely created emails for 2 fake social workers who would claim to be working for her, Michael Kornetsky and Michelle Delphi. The prosecutor alleged in court that while posing behind the keyboard as one of these DCF workers, Hewitt had herself admitted as a child patient at the Walden Behavioral Treatment Center and enrolled herself in the Boston Public Schools. The treatment center helped youngsters with eating disorders, with Hewitt having long suffered anorexia. From there, she quickly began attending classes at Jeremiah E. Burke High School in Dorchester, where she stayed for around 7 months, before transferring to Barton High School for 2 months. Switching to the name Ellie Blake and claiming to be 13 years old, her alleged con unraveled a week after she transferred to English High School in Boston. The scheme was busted after she complained about being bullied by actual teenagers, taunting her for looking like an adult. At some point, Hewitt had also purchased a $350,000 apartment, paying for the property in cash rather than needing a mortgage. Despite committing to the facade by even having braces put on her teeth, as well as regularly wearing baggy clothes and ponytails to give her a younger look, classmates ridiculed Hewitt for appearing to look more like their parents. The school was predominantly Black and Hispanic students who reportedly told Hewitt white cracks early. Posing as a fake social worker, Michelle Delphi, using the bogus Massachusetts state email Hewitt created, and she emailed the school's guidance counselor to notify them about the bullying she claimed Ellie was suffering. Ellie had a really bad day at school yesterday. She cried all evening and doesn't want to go back to school, with allegedly writing about herself in the third person. Ellie is really sensitive about people commenting on her face and how she looks older, Miss Delphi wrote. It's a huge trigger point for her. Delphi said that Ellie suffered from a genetic medical condition that prematurely aged her, and claimed she was a vulnerable victim of child trafficking that now lived with a foster family. After school staff worked out a plan for her return, Principal Caitlin Murphy realized certain aspects of the troubled student's story didn't add up. Most notably, Delphi's email domain didn't match the correct DCF address. In an email by the Boston Globe, Murphy urgently requested staff members look at the documents that Ellie was registered with to be sure that we are confident that there is not something amiss here. Something feels like it's not adding up. They were later disturbed at being unable to find her birth certificate, claiming that her parents were dead. Hewitt was also able to enroll under a false identity at Walden Behavioral Care, which specializes in eating disorders. At some stage, she began living with a social therapist at the center, Rebecca Bernay, and her partner John Smith, seemingly without documentation, as the couple now claim they were duped along with everyone else. Other classmates also claimed she exhibited strange behavior, including randomly bursting into tears in class and hallways, and driving herself to school while saying her family were so poor they were struggling for food. Despite the inconsistencies, classmates said her tragic backstory meant they merely felt sorry for her. And one girl introduced Hewitt to her friends as the new kid in school that she had empathy for, due to the flaws in the enrollment system and staff wanting to help a seemingly helpless teenager. They found they didn't possess basic paperwork, including a birth certificate. The principal assumed we had some sort of information from DCF regarding the arrangement with the foster parents, and we've had no reason to doubt anyone calling before. But in retrospect, we should have asked for some formal paperwork. Shelby was promptly questioned by police, and she initially claimed Delphi was forging documents to encourage Bernay to take her into foster care. Bernay was later fired from her role as a social worker for failing to go through the proper channels and taking who she thought was a troubled teen into her home, but maintains that she and her partner were also victims. The criminal defendant deceived and victimized John Smith and Rebecca Bernay. John and Rebecca are among numerous people who genuinely believed a desperate young person was in need. Shelby reportedly later confessed to the con. She said the truth will come out in time, but until then, 32-year-old's motivation for the alleged year-long can remain a mystery. Hewitt pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of document forgery, 2 counts of common law forgery, 1 count each of uttering false or forged records, identity fraud, larceny over $1,200, and violating public employee standards of conduct. So that's that. What are your thoughts? Leave them down below. Do you agree with all that? What she was found guilty of? Would this be something you would do? Why and why? Why would you want to go back to high school? I don't understand that. I mean, I tolerated high school. I did what I had to do, but I wouldn't want to go back to it. So anyway, leave your thoughts and comments down below. If you haven't already done so, do me a favor and please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. It helps me out. Hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell so you know the next time I upload a video. Till next time, guys, peace.